Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. I just wanted to make a video here today where we are going to go a little bit more in depth with the whole medium spirit ghosty thing like I did in that previous video that I made a week or so ago. And if you haven't watched that video, please go watch that video after this one. It is going to be a little tab at the end of the video, so you can just click on it and go right on over there. But this video is going to go a lot more in depth about the story of the time when I was in the haunted beach house in San Diego. So, I stayed with my family in a beach house in San Diego. It was, let me see, myself, my older brother, my younger brother, hold on. Older brother wasn't there. It was myself, my 4 younger brothers, my stepmom, my dad, my grandma, my grandpa, and my aunt. 10 people all in one beach house. It was huge though, so it's whatever. But we were all staying there together. Thing is that my grandmother, my stepmother, my aunt, and especially myself are all very sensitive to energy and spirits and things like that. Me particularly, being that I am a medium, I see and hear and smell and I experience the spirits as if they're people. The only difference is I can't touch them because, you know, they're not physical people. But that's not the point. In this cabin that I was staying at with my family, we were there for about a week. The moment that we got in there, everything was fine. It just felt a little bit off. We got in through the first story, and there are 3 stories in this beach house. It was very tall instead of wide because it's San Diego. They don't have a lot of space to go outwards. This beach house had 3 stories. The bottom story was my bedroom, as well as the laundry room and a bathroom, and also it led to like the backyard area where you could, you know, get ready to go to the beach or clean up after coming back from the beach because it was a beach house. The second story was a lot more like family rooms and things like that. Like the living room, there were a couple of bedrooms, the kitchen was there was a balcony that looked over the backyard. But the third story was where things got a little, There's this one super narrow staircase. That staircase is opened by a couple of French doors. And you go up the staircase and it's a little loft area where there's a bunch of like children's toys and things like that. There's also a small mounted TV. I'd say it's maybe like a 20-inch TV just mounted to the wall. And then there's this narrow corridor. And the best way that I can explain it is just this hallway. And it's like you're looking down this hallway that's maybe honestly, if I were to stand in this hallway, it would be this wide and I'd be standing and this would be I could touch the walls if I just like did this. It was so narrow and it was probably like, I don't know, maybe like 9 feet like long going in so here. Square schematic. So there'd be this hallway here. The loft space is here. Then there's this weird hallway that's super narrow. And then it leads to a nursery. And that was where things got a little interesting. That nursery, I got really weird vibes off of from the moment we got in there. I went back downstairs, found my stepmom, and I was like, Angeline, this place is haunted. And she was like, oh, Jaden, you think everything's haunted? And I said, no, come upstairs and you need to come and see this. She came upstairs, she got into the loft space, and she's like, oh, okay, whatever. And then I put her in the corridor, and she just went, oh, yeah, I don't like this. I feel like, My aunt and my grandmother were not there yet, so I couldn't go and find them, the other like psychic ones, and be like, hey, you feel this, right? You feel the little, you feel that too? I was the only one, as well as my stepmom, but she can't see spirits, she can just feel when things are a little bit off. So later on, I decided that in the middle of the first night, because that was the day, we got there a day before the rest of my family. So the rest of my family was gonna come there the day after. We were already there, but that night I decided I was going to go upstairs into the corridor into the nursery and see if I could find anyone. And lo and behold, I found 2 children, a little boy and a little girl. I never asked their names. I wasn't really too concerned as to what their names were. However, I do know that it was a little boy, little girl, and they died by drowning in the ocean maybe like 30 feet away from where our house was. And they were staying in that house with their family. And the reason that they were still there is because they were waiting for their family to come back, and they haven't come back. So what they've been doing is they've been actually kind of playing and toying with all of the other guests that stay in that inside of that beach house. They've been having a little bit of fun, playing pranks or jokes or freaking people out because they thought it was funny because they're kids and they can't get caught or in trouble because their parents aren't there to tell them that they're doing something wrong. However, I went, I saw them, I met them. The little girl was super shy. The boy was a lot more bold. He was willing to be seen by me. The little girl wasn't she didn't really like to present herself that much. She kind of hid and let the brother do all the like the schemes and devious little like tricks and stuff, while the sister just was like giggling in the background watching it all happen. On the first night, my stepmother Angeline and my dad were sleeping in the master bedroom on the 3rd story, which the closet to the master bedroom is connected to the nursery, which architecturally is a good idea because then the parents can be close to the baby. However, that night Angeline was sleeping and she kept on talking about how she felt the blankets get pulled off of her feet over and over and over and over and over again, and she just couldn't do it. She wouldn't, so she decided she was going to sleep downstairs, and my grandmother and grandfather had agreed that they would take the master bedroom because my grandpa didn't believe in that kind of stuff, and my grandma, she was actually able to like deal with it, I guess. I don't know. But the first night, stepmom kept talking about how the blankets kept getting pulled off of her feet. After that, it didn't happen because she was in a different bedroom. She had traded with my grandparents, and then she was fine from there on out. My grandmother, though, did talk about how she could hear footsteps in the room in the middle of the night, but she tried to just ignore it because my aunt and I had both agreed that there were ghost children that were living in the house, and they weren't malicious. They were just they were pranksters because my aunt had finally gotten there later that day. She and I talked about it, and she told me, so like, you feel the 2 kids that live here too, right? The one little boy, the one little girl. The little girl is younger than the boy by like a couple of years, and the little boy is basically trying to take care of her. They both drown in the ocean. And I was like, yes, thank you. I am not crazy. However, later what ended up happening is every time somebody would leave their room in the middle of the night, they would talk about how they felt watched. Even people that don't really believe in spirits that lived in the house, they would feel really creeped out at night. Like they wouldn't want to walk to the bathroom down the hallway because they feel like something's watching them go to the bathroom, like go into the bathroom. And they also didn't really like going to the kitchen to get something to drink because they would talk about hearing footsteps down the hallway or up on the ceiling, like on another floor, or like maybe they'd hear something coming from downstairs and they just didn't like it, so they stayed away. They just stayed in their bedrooms. They didn't come out at night. Eventually what happened was I was asleep one night, and I sleep with an eye mask because, I don't know, I'm gay. I sleep with an eye mask. And I could hear some giggling and whispering, and they had fully yanked the sheets off of me. I was laying in bed, I had the blanket up to maybe my shoulders or something, and they pulled the whole thing off of me. And I jolt forward, take the mask off, and I see the little girl standing at the foot of my bed and the little boy standing in the hallway, and I went, "You two need to stop. I am trying to sleep. I cannot deal with you two right now. I am sorry. I know you guys are just trying to pull pranks, but you cannot be doing this. It scares people, and it's really starting to bother everybody here. We know that you're here. We know that you're trying to be silly and mischievous, but it needs to stop, especially at nighttime, because you are doing harm to people." The little girl stopped. She was visibly shaking. She looked up at me and she went, "I'm sorry." And then I looked at her and was like, "It's okay. As long as you're not doing it anymore, I will not be upset at you." And she went, "Okay." And then she ran down the hallway, and her brother had chased her down. They were giggling. They ran upstairs. I think they went back to the nursery. I don't know. I don't care. But they went back to whatever it is that they were doing. They didn't bother anybody for the rest of the trip. Except on one of the final days that we were there, we were talking about the ghost children, and the room was very divided because half of the room thought they were real, half the room did not think that they were real. And what ended up happening was that so many people were talking about how the ghost children weren't real and that all of us were crazy, that something unexplainable and crazy had happened. In San Diego beach homes, they don't have air conditioning. That is because in San Diego, the temperature range is anywhere from like 60 degrees to like 100, not 100, like 85, 90 maybe. But there's always that ocean breeze that makes everything very cool down there. So the weather doesn't really deviate very much, and that's in Fahrenheit, by the way, for people that are maybe in other countries. Yeah, 50 degrees Fahrenheit is like maybe the lowest of the low that it would get in San Diego. And then like 90 might be the absolute highest it would ever be in San Diego. I'd be shocked if it even got to that. Maybe I'd say 80 to 85. But it was the middle of the summer. It was like July when we were there, and it was like 80 degrees. There's no air conditioning. There's no way that that room could be cold or any temperature shifts could end up happening because there's no way. Except for this one. They were all talking about how the ghost kids, they weren't real and everybody needed to stop talking about them and how it was just scaring the little kids and how they like my younger brothers, it was scaring them and it wasn't real and we need to stop talking about it. And the little girl slammed the bedroom door shut. The bedroom door, so in the living room, there was a little side door that led up to the master bedroom. and it was on the opposite side of the door that led up to the loft space and the nursery and stuff, so that there were like staircases on the other side that met in the top floor. But the door that was in the living room slammed shut, like hard. I mean slammed, like 230-pound muscly man slamming that door shut as hard as he possibly could. The entire house shook and everybody jumped. I went in and I opened the door. I saw the little girl crying, running up the stairs, and the room was just icy. And I mean, like, I walked into that hallway and saw my breath. Icy, freezing cold. And the moment that the girl wasn't in the hallway, well, first, my aunt and my brother went into the hallway with me when it was freezing, and they're like, oh my God, what happened here? And then after the girl was gone, they were like, oh, it's perfectly fine in here now. What happened? So I ran up the stairs, I followed them to the nursery, and they were both crying because they were saying they wanted their parents, they missed them, they don't know what to do, they don't know where to go, people don't like them anymore, and people are saying that they're not real, and all this stuff. And I talked to them, I was like, look, they just don't understand. I understand, you are real, you are here, you are valid, you are valid, you are okay. They do not understand, and they are saying things that they don't mean because they don't know. They don't know that this is a real thing. They think that this is us trying to scare them because they don't believe that ghosts exist or that spirits exist. And I know that that's very sad and scary for you guys, and I'm sorry, but there is nothing that you can do other than forgive them and just understand that it's because they don't know any better. Eventually, the little girl stopped crying, the little boy gave her a hug, they calmed down, they kind of disappeared for a little while, and everything was kind of whatever, and we left the house after that. They didn't follow us or linger, I'm sure they stayed there. I know they didn't cross over because I can tell when a spirit crosses over after something, so they're still there as far as I know. I haven't been back to the house since then because my parents rented it, we don't own it. Yeah, that's the entire story. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a little long-winded, and if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching this much of the video. It means a lot that your support is there, and I appreciate everybody that actually sticks around for these videos to the very end. I just want to let you know, if you guys do not follow me on my other social media, please go follow me on TikTok and on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, and remember to smile. All right, bye guys.